Hey everyone, happy Sunday from the Whiteleys. I rarely have my hubby come on live videos with me. He's the strong, silent type. He's the strong, silent type.
Very silent.
We thought we would come on here today and talk a little bit about how we view marriage as a partnership. And I thought I would hold him hostage while giving a haircut, which he needs today, so that you could actually hear from him.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got together, how many years? In 2008, right?
2008.
In October of 2008. Yeah, let's not talk about how old we are. We got together in 2008, and Ryan and I were both working. Ryan was working as a bar manager at a very, very busy rock and roll bar. I was working as a hairstylist. And also I bartended at the nightclub above the pub he worked at because I couldn't make ends meet as a hairstylist in the city. I wasn't making enough money. So I had to do both. And Ryan and I had a ton of mutual friends. We met. We went on a coffee date. I'm going to fast forward how we met. We went on a coffee date on our first date. And basically, we kind of spent every day together since then, hey?
Yeah. I think first week, and then it was pretty much every day.
So it was pretty funny. I had not lived with any other partner since I was 17 and vowed never to live with anybody until I got married. And then I spent so much time with Ryan that when I would go home, my roommate thought I was breaking in because I was just never home. And Ryan was always so great. Ryan has this really beautiful ability to anticipate what you need before you need it and be able to give you what you need and whether it is providing a meal or he wants everyone to feel comfortable, and he has the foresight to see
always the bartender he's always got his eye on everything, right? So Ryan and I, we moved in together pretty quickly. I remember calling my mom and saying, Ryan had asked me to move in a few times. Yeah. And I said no. And then you're like, what's holding you back? And I'm like, well, I've got stuff. I've got a walk-in closet, and I've got bedroom furniture and a couch. And Ryan's like, well, what if we use all your stuff and I build you a walk-in closet? And it was straight out of Sex and the City. And I was like, I'm in. Let's do this. And she was staying there every night anyways. So.
Yeah. So finally, we just decided that we were going to do life together. And we were going to be a team and a partnership. And I think within the first couple of months, Ryan, he remortgaged and paid off my student loans because I had about $30,000 worth of student loans. Ryan had done, I paid off $10,000 of that though. But Ryan had done very, very well in real estate and was really great at timing the market and flipping condos. And do you want to?
Well, yeah, no, I was just a saver, and
he's very humble.
I used what I could scratch and save from the bar industry, which is pretty lucrative for not having an education. And yeah, I bought a few condos, and just the market was going up and up and up. It wasn't really timing the market, it was just luck, really. But it was also just, being, I don't know, just saving some of my money. I wasn't drinking it all away. Yeah.
You were really good.
And then I, put, repaint things and then put them back on the market, and yeah, they kept going up, and which allowed me to buy a house in Victoria, which is pretty good to do as a single person.
Yeah, downtown Victoria, to own a home.
And what else?
Kind of crazy. Well,
yeah.
we just decided very early on that we were going to partner together. And so Ryan, I remember you having that conversation with me and saying, you know what, we're going to take care of your debt because now we're going to go half and half. We're going to pool our money together. We're going to do this as a team. We are a team.
Yeah, we didn't want that on our shoulders.
No.
So we dealt with it right away, and then
so that we could
teamed up, and
so we could travel together and save together and do the things that we wanted together, and we did it as a partnership. And I remember also, I don't know if you're cool with me sharing this, but because Ryan had real estate before he met me, because Ryan had real estate before he met me, when he proposed, I said to Ryan, do you feel like you want a prenup? Do you feel like you want to do, I'm totally fine to do that because you acquired this real estate before you met me.
I don't remember this conversation.
No?
And you said no. You said, no, I don't want a prenup because I feel that would set us up for failure. You're already planning for failure.
Right. That I remember.
Right?
Yes.
You're so smart, babe. All your wisdom. So I would, that was something.
Well, and they don't really stand up in court anyways.
So don't bother. Just don't bother. So there's a few reasons why he decided not. Anyways, I knew, from the moment I met Ryan, I knew he was the guy. I think I asked you on your third date, or on our third date, I said, if you don't want to get married at some point or don't want to have kids and this has to be our last, I really liked him. And I was like, this is a huge risk, but I was so sick of dating. And if you don't want those things, then this has to be our last date. And you had said you just hadn't met the right person. So
True.
I knew very early on that I wanted Ryan as a partner. I wanted him as a husband. I wanted him to be the father of my child or children. I always knew that he would be such a great dad. And so we decided consciously to build this life together. And you know what? It hasn't always been easy. It hasn't always been easy. I remember having conflict at my job and leaving a salon that I had worked at since I got out of hair school, and I was so upset, and Ryan was just like, it's cool, we'll just put a salon in the house, you can work from home. And I was just up in arms and so upset, and he just nope, here's the solution. And then you went through some trouble with work, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I had always thought of myself, took quite a bit of ownership in where I worked, and was working towards hopefully becoming a shareholder at some point, and had the opportunity given to me, but then it was taken away because someone else had more money and yada yada, which I understand in hindsight, but it kind of changed how I felt about the business, and I didn't quite have that passion anymore because I'd given a lot to the place I worked at, and I wanted more, and since it wasn't there, I had to pivot.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of pivoting, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of pivoting, taken time off, right? We took some time off, and I think I've taken a little bit of time off just to kind of figure things out. But what we came to is that we both play to our strengths in our relationship, right? We both always... He needs his coffee to have this conversation, I think. We both play to our strengths. So when we had our daughter... Ryan was working really, really late nights at the bar and was working from 7 p.m. until 2:30 in the morning. Can you imagine that with an infant and being up all night and then not being able to sleep? And hey, our dogs like motorcycles and cyclists. Or not, they don't like them. And so Ryan was getting sick all the time. He was constantly sick because he wasn't getting enough sleep. He was exhausted. I was at home. We had people working in, I had somebody trying to take my clients in the salon. It wasn't going well. It was exhausting. And we decided to pivot and start a business that was completely different than any other business that we had done before. However, that business needed time and care, and I needed to learn a lot in that business. And Ryan... he's always been that person. Ryan is the kind of guy that wants to take care of you. You want to protect Izzy and I, and you want to take care of us. And he did. He stepped up and started doing all the things that traditionally men maybe don't do. And he was always really great in the kitchen. Ryan's one of the best chefs out there. People come to our house and never want to leave. And he's an excellent host. He is the best dad ever.
But yeah, I was just picking up on all the things that you couldn't do because you were too occupied with learning a new business. So,
but there were hard discussions that we had. I'm just going to go around this way. There were hard discussions that we had. There were times where, we had to figure out, we had to communicate and say the hard stuff to things that were working or things that weren't working.
Yep.
We both had those hard conversations. Mm-hmm. There were times that we had to shift and take on more on either side. And I think you would agree with me, Rye, that it's not 50-50 in a relationship. It's 100 and 100. It's 100% and 100% that you both have to put in and you both have to choose to grow together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter, what the roles are. It doesn't matter what you know, like what happens in your household. If you both love and care about each other, and you're willing to do the work, and you're willing to put in the time, and you're willing to do haircuts when you've retired on a Sunday.
I know. They just don't do them like you, babe.
I know, honey. But when you do the things, you go above and beyond to make your partner happy. Like when you get up every day and you think, what is going to make my partner happy today? Because I feel like we both do that. We both check in with each other daily and say, what do you need to get done today? How can we make this all work? How can we make our daughter happy? What can we plan our day around to make our daughter happy? And it's just a different way of life. It's a different way of thinking. Traditionally, you know, women would have babies and stay home and be a little bit isolated, and guys would go out and go to work and make all the money, but then they didn't have a place in the upbringing of their children. And that was something that happened with me, and I think it was something that happened with you, is that our dads weren't really around as much as our moms were in our childhood, and we didn't have the relationship with them because we didn't have the emotional support or you know, the physical support of being there. We didn't get that. So I think you agree that having that time and how important that is when you especially when you raise a little girl, right?
Yeah.
So what, like, Rye, how have you, you know, because you weren't sure that you necessarily wanted children, but how do you feel now that you get to be such a big part of Izzy's life?
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine not having that. And I mean, she's about to go to preschool here pretty soon, and that's going to be a big change because we've had her here most of the time.
Yeah, we get to spend a lot of time with her, one-on-one time with her.
But I couldn't imagine having to work away or
or even just be away from the house 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, like, so we understand that what we're doing is not normal, but we've made conscious decisions for quite a long time. And this property didn't just happen. Like we talked about having acreage and doing all this kind of stuff for years, right? We just didn't think that we'd have it in our 30s. We didn't think that this would be something that we would be able to afford or do in our 30s. But that's what happens when you take your strengths and you work together as a partnership, and you make decisions together and you move forward together, so that you have kind of everything. You can have it all. You can have, you know, a thriving career and a great income. You can have the stay-at-home family life. You can have personal freedom. Like both Ryan and I have quite a bit of personal freedom to go, you know, to do the things that we want to do, to travel, to go to the gym. Ryan loves, is obsessed with CrossFit and working out, and he has
obsessed.
Well, he really loves, and he's so good at it.
Just like to stay fit, it's easier to stay in shape than to get out of shape.
He's really humble. So it's really cool because we've decided that this is going to be the life that we live, and this is the life we're going to model for other people, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to share, you know, how we've done these things. But we've also been able to make a bigger impact, right? We've been able to give back more. We've been able to do more for others. You know, Ryan and I have always been people that have given back, whether we sponsor a family at Christmas or rally friends to build a school in Kenya or give back to charities, or we've always been able to do that, but now we get to do it in a bigger way.
I give blood.
Ryan gives blood. He does. See, when you don't have tattoos, you can give blood. Or fear of needles. But
I hate needles.
Well, you're really good at it. Keep going.
Just get over it.
Get over it. Ryan also listens to Jacko Willink every morning, so I feel like he's made of steel. So what, like, when you think about the partnership that we have, I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm going to totally put Ryan on the spot right now. When you think of the partnership that we have, you know, what are you most grateful for in the life that we have right now?
Well, just the freedom to sort of create our lives, really. Like, I have the opportunity here I'm planting an orchard, so I can hopefully one day do a cidery here, and you know, that's probably like a 5 or 6 year plan. So just to have the ability to strive for something so far away, and
have that long-term vision and not have to worry about
have our needs met in the meantime is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Just, I think it's about having a choice, like having the freedom to do those things, right? Like having a lot of people don't have the time, the energy, the freedom to do those things, and we get to follow our passions, you know. Like I always dreamed of doing a TED Talk. I always dreamed of doing more and bigger things to impact more people, and
Izzy, we're right here.
Izzy, we're just outside, sweet pea.
I'm getting a haircut.
Daddy's getting a haircut. Do you want to come see? Come on. You can come say hi. Look. Do you want to see the video? Look. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. What are we going to do today?
Daddy.
I'm cutting Daddy's
Yeah.
hair, and then we're going to go to the beach. How about that? Would that be fun?
But how do we do cutting hair?
You want to watch me?
Yep.
Okay. You can stand right here, and you can watch
Don't
me.
get covered in hair.
Don't get covered. Don't get your little feeties covered in hair, okay? You can watch. Maybe I'll teach you later, and then you can cut Daddy's hair. Would you like that? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But the fact that, you know,
Can't wait.
like, think about our life 5 years ago in the summer, Saturday, Sundays, working every day, right? You were working at the pub every day.
Yeah.
I was doing weddings, like 2 weddings on Saturday, at least a wedding on Sunday, maybe 2. And our life didn't look like this.
Yeah, we had like maybe Mondays off together or Tuesdays off together
Yeah.
when we were lucky.
Yeah, we would have Mondays or Tuesdays off together if we were
But yeah,
lucky.
we
And
miss
then
miss all the family barbecues, and
we couldn't go camping with friends on the
Yeah.
weekend, or we couldn't go to the lake when
well,
on a
we'd
beautiful
always
day.
just have our holiday in like November.
Yeah, and that's kind of when we realized that we were working for our vacations. We were totally working hard all through April till October for our vacations. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, wait a sec. Why don't we build a life that we don't need a vacation from? How many times have you heard that? Why don't we build a life that we don't need a vacation from? And it's funny because Karen just came to visit and she just laughed and she's like, it's like I'm on vacation here. Like, it's so peaceful. It's so quiet. It's like we're on holidays. We're in the middle of the woods. Like, she's like, I love it. Like, all of a sudden your body relaxes. And that's how we feel on a daily basis. Like, watching the bird, like the eagles. I think that was a turkey vulture. But like watching the birds fly by, and it just is. Last night we watched 2 bucks up on our property.
Having a wrestle.
They
were getting ready for mating season.
And there's already 3
bumping
fawns
their
up there.
racks
It was
together.
so cool. Like it was, and then we heard them calling because I think that or doe calling because we think that there was danger. We hear the baby owls and the eagles, and like this, you know, there's a lot that you can do with life and a lot that money can buy, but it's your quality of life and how you live life on a daily basis that really matters. And both Ryan and I remember, I think I brought this up last night. I remember when we first got together, we went camping and we were sitting around the campfire looking at the stars. And I said, this is what I need in my life. I need more campfires and quiet and talking and more stars that I can see in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need in my life. I need more of this in my life. And now we have that. But it was 10 years in the making, right? It didn't just happen overnight. It wasn't something that just manifested. It's that we had many conversations on date nights. By the way, we still do date nights. Like even though we can't go out, we put Izzy down and we'll sit in the hot tub and do a date night. But I think that when, you know, you decide that no matter what, you guys are going to do life together, and you know what, there are times that we remind each other that we're on the same team. Not going to lie.
Yep.
There are definitely
Yep.
times
Oh,
that
for
we
sure.
have our moments and we have discussions and you know, we remind that we're on the same team, but we've always been on the same team and we've always been able to support each other that way. And I think that when you
We always
grow,
come back to being on the same team.
yes, and you know, and another thing that we both focus on in a different way is personal development. We both do personal development. We both grow. We both committed to growing together because I believe that when people don't grow together, they grow apart. And so, you know, we've always kind of looked at the big picture and come back full circle, even if things are not perfect, because they're not going to be after 10 or
No.
11 or how many.
Well, and
20,000 years.
we're still individuals
Yeah.
at the end of the day, so we can't be inside each other's heads all the time and know exactly how we're thinking, and so we have to have our little
Conversations. and
conversations, if you will.
And that's important. I think that that's the hardest part, is that most people avoid those conversations or they don't have them, and then they don't seek counseling or they don't do the things that are really
Well, then you're
necessary,
in,
the
like,
hard stuff.
A 30-year silent war.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No.
So we thought that we would just hop on here today and just say, you know, your life is what you make it. Your life is what you design it to be. You know, and Brian, like, what piece of advice could you give people like looking to start living a life like this where they have time freedom and the things that they want?
Jeez Louise.
I ask the hard questions.
Yeah. What advice would I have?
Yeah, like what would you say to somebody that was like unhappy in their career, that like wanted to make a change, because we were both unhappy in what we were doing. So like what would, like, you're not stuck.
Yeah.
So what would you say like the best?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mommy.
baby.
Well, I guess just
Can you help me? Can you help me get my teeth set out?
I will as soon as I'm done cutting Daddy's hair. Okay, you go look on your kitchen.
I guess just kind of map out where, you know,
Where you're going.
where you'd like your life to go,
Yeah.
and then go for it, because you're not just going to stumble upon it randomly.
It's not just someone isn't gonna swoop in and save you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's not gonna swoop in and say, "Hey Ryan, do you want to be part owners of this pub?" Like, you know,
Yeah.
like it doesn't happen the way that you want it to. And so many people wait around for things to change, or they wish that things would change, but they're not ready to take action. And it doesn't have to be big action, right? Like you don't have to necessarily quit your job,
Yeah.
but you do have to start taking small incremental steps daily.
Well, yeah, and you have to have something you have to aim at something, because that's what we do. We essentially have to have a goal. Otherwise, I know it's so cliche to say, but if you don't have a goal, then you don't have anything to aim at. If you don't have anything to aim at, then you're just stumbling around.
Well, and you were listening to a really great leadership book the other day. What was the book that you talked about? And the guy said, when you are at your breaking point, when you're at your wit's end, when you're ready to quit, that's actually when you're only at 40% of your full potential.
Yeah, David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me.
Can't hurt me. And
Yeah,
and so basically, when you're at that breaking point where you think everything is over, you're only at 40% of what you're fully capable of, and it's really important that that's when you start. You dig in and you want this?
You dig deep. I think I'm just down to coffee grinds. That's okay, thank you.
That's what you do. You do things to make people happy. Share your coffee while you're getting a haircut. So we thought we'd chat a little bit about that today. Is there anything else you want to add, Rise, or anything that like I kind of skipped over that you wish that I talked about a little bit more?
Well, no, just I guess in your aims to change your life, also maybe think about what would happen if you don't go forward, because if you're not going forward, you're probably going backwards. So look at what will happen if you don't take action, and what pit you're going to slip into, and use that as a motivator not to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And to take that next step, and to, when things are hard, to keep going forward.
Well, thank you, Ryan. Love ya. Okay, hope that made sense.
Yeah.
Glad we get to do this life together.
I don't do this often, so apologies for my rambling.
You're the best. Okay, we'll see you guys later.